one of the big things about Doctor Who, of course, was the cliffhangers, and you have to resolve the cliffhanger at the beginning of the next episode. And sometimes it was done, particularly in later years, by repeating the end of the previous episode off a recording. Here it's actually reenacted. It's written into the new script, and off it goes. And that's a little bit of film of a cat, and a still at the end, presumably because the cat wandered off. Louis Marks, of course, a big name in television. Fantastic career. This was quite early in his career. Did a lot of fantastic work.
He suggests that nobody should look in the cat's eyes, but the only person who doesn't is Carol, whereas the two Bills carry on looking in the cat's eyes.
I was wondering what the reason was for not looking in the cat's eyes. Was something terrible going to happen if they did?
Well, I think it means the cat might then trace you because you've... I don't know. And again, a film insert of the cat at Ealing. So that little set was rebuilt in the studio, but everything with the cat was done at Ealing. This is a bit unusual for Mervyn. Lots of the cuts here.
Yes, there are.
Close-ups when he'd normally hold it on a wide shot.
We were always looking when they got close-ups of Bill at the wig. That's all we could look at. All I could look at was, is that wig lace going to show?
Yes.
Boom shadow on his head just a minute ago, just before he sat down.
Well, retake's not that easy then, so it was a quick one. You had to let it go. So how long did Bill take in makeup of a morning to get all his wig on?
Not really very long. I mean, it didn't have much makeup as such at all, but the wig had to be kind of carefully put on a block during the week when he wasn't using it, and sort of combed out and made sure it was all right. And then it was quite quickly got into a routine, I think, of... he wouldn't have it on in the morning. I mean, they wouldn't have it on until the final run-through. It was usually sometime in the afternoon. And then once it was on, it would stay on till the end.
Was he very particular about things like that?
He was particular. I think it was more just part of his general nervousness, really. He was nervous and, worried about his lines and worrying about getting to the right places at the right time, because there's a lot to remember just getting into the studio and only having that day, as far as I remember, to familiarise, especially something like this, where there was a lot of moving around to different sets. So I think, because there were different people that looked after him from the makeup point of view over the time he was in it, he had to get to know the different people. But once he got to know you, he was very friendly, and he gave me a little jewellery box when I can't remember. Must have been when. I can't remember when it was, whether it was when I left or he left. But anyway, I've still got that box now that I use.
Clive, we were looking at the briefcase stuff.
Oh, I think that blow-up briefcase was just brilliant because it matches the real briefcase so well. It was a lovely bit of design, that.
Very clever. And again, I can't remember, was that a cut from taped film, or was that a tape cut from big prop to a little prop?
I think that was big prop to little prop.
In the studio, yes. And Smithers here, played by one Reginald Barrett, who could have stepped out of a CSI episode, I think.
They're also incredibly formal with their dress. They've all got beautifully knotted ties, haven't they? I can't imagine that it's like that now in the episodes.
But it was like that at the BBC at the time, wasn't it? You all had to wear ties to work and
yes,
look smart.
Yes.
Even when you're on cameras, you had to wear a suit, especially if you're in the theatre. But
did you there
was a directive once. I think it was when Hugh Weldon was Director General. No, BBC One. That we all had to refer to each other by our surnames.
Good Lord.
I think that was because on one of the crew, I think crew 6, all 4 cameramen were called Peter.
So did you graduate first name terms as you got promoted, or?
It didn't last very long, that.
There was a strange thing in radio at the time, where people would be referred to by their function. You'll be Spot for spot effects man, Grams for grams, and Panel for the guy who was the mixer.
But again, the BBC was famous for its abbreviations.
Abbreviations, yes.
tech.op.this.that, endless lines, a bit like email addresses.
I did an OB out in Wales once, and in Bangor I found an EIEIO.
We would definitely be called makeup, because nobody ever knew the names of all the individual people. So I would be sitting up in the control room watching what was going on, and the different makeup artists would be, down on the floor. So if somebody was sweating or something was falling off or needed a combing, then there would just be a call for makeup, and whoever it was nearest would just run.
And we'll see the briefcase. Be another cut in a minute when they come out of the briefcase.
Again, I think very good. This.
There we go.
Excellent. The angle there was perfect.
So that was 2 sets in the studio, and you literally just cut between one and the other on the fly. Yeah. It's very good. And a bit of music again. That'll be played live into the studio, I imagine, into the studio recording. Pre-recorded. But then during the studio session.
Played in, yes. Yeah.
These shows were pretty much made in camera, weren't they? So what came out of the studio is what went on.
I think there probably would have been a final dub on it, wouldn't there? Maybe not.
I think some of them were tidied up if they absolutely needed it, but I don't think they went for a dub.
No, I don't remember doing dubs on those early episodes.
We don't see the paperclip. That's a shame. But again, these big props are fantastically well done.
Oh, the scale is brilliant, isn't it?
And he's very consistent with the scale as well. I must have been watching it, trying to see if I can spot it.
They're supposed to be 1 inch tall, aren't they?
Yes, 1 inch. There's a bullet hole there, Sonia. Was that you?
I guess it would, but I think he shot him sort of straight on, didn't he?
Yes, he shot him in the heart.
To the heart.
Here we go, the drain pipe, which this drain pipe gets us into the rest of the plot because they climb up it into the sink.
It must have been a fairly incredible sight, I think, that studio for this recording with all the different setups, around with all the
especially later
with special effects.
With the basin was just extraordinary.
There's a raised set as well, so they could come up through the plug hole, and then of course it was raised beyond that as well.
Right, so they could shoot down.
There's a lot of getting from place to place, which I think they did find quite difficult, with very little time to get familiar with the layout.
Is that part of your job, David, making sure everybody was in the right place?
Yes, they get across to the correct set. Yes, turn left. Got to know the route through. But mind you, have several rehearsals during the day, so they know where to go. But when they run across, then somebody from makeup would be just checking them over before they get on to the next scene. Things like.
It's part of your job to coordinate all that and make sure everybody was.
Well, they get there, yes, and they get through because I can. You can hear the countdown coming especially if it's been on film before, or if it's just set to set, you just go. So it's all worked out during the day time. You work from the morning right way through to about tea time, and then after that you have a dress run through right through, and then record it in the evening.
But it was a good team effort, wasn't it? Really,
yes.
Because everybody worked together, and everybody
worked together.
You needed each other, and we needed you to tell people to be there. And the costume people and the makeup had to kind of keep out of each other's way, but be very near to each other.
And you were a team on Doctor Who, weren't you? I mean, you did it. I mean, different designers came in, different directors, but the core technical team, people like you, were on it pretty much week in, week out.
And Daphne Dare from the costumes. I think she was there the whole lot of the series that I was with. Certainly, she did that. So we worked very closely together.
They are climbing up the drain pipe, which is just a black drape at the back.
Black drape, yeah. And again, only one camera angle.
That's that same setup at Tilley. Pretty sure that's a caption slide, but we still can't work out whether it
must be a caption slide. There's a bit of movement on it, isn't there?
Can't quite work out whether that's a front projection or back projection. Big plot point coming up, of course. These seeds have been sprayed by this.
They look so
appalling
like puffed wheat,
insecticide.
don't they?
Yes. But again, fantastic props.
Mm.
Now, one of the big flaws plot-wise, I thought when I watched this, is she touches this. There we go. Now she mentions touching it.
Yes. And she asks him for a sticky stuff on my hand.
That's right. And he's totally oblivious. Doesn't comment at all.
And never realises.
And never realises, never asks her why she's looking a bit unpeaky.
He gives her the
Gives the
hanky.
handkerchief.
Gives the hanky, yeah.
And she never says, I'm feeling a bit peaky.
Well, not till later. She does
Not
later.
till very much later.
I suppose it took time to work.
But insects their size are killed instantaneously.
Indeed. Well, there's a bit of mumbo jumbo later on about the fact that because they're miniaturised, different molecule size and all sorts of things like that. So
Yeah, he said it worked much quicker on her, didn't it? The poison, because she
she's got
was
a thicker skin.
she was small. When she got big, it wouldn't affect her anymore magically.
That's right, because the molecules were a bit smaller size. It's very complicated. A bit late for that. But it is odd that she doesn't mention it. Rather than saying, well, I have already touched it. Do you think I ought to go and wash my hands?
And she's having a think about it now.
That's right. It's pretty obvious that she's worried.
Why don't you smell her hands then?
Maybe he didn't like to. And this is another great set. Everything's very close together on this workbench, so that Mervyn could just move his camera up and down and tell the story in a very small space. And again, all this is one shot, moving in, moving out, panning around.
And no zooming, so this was just a single camera lens.
Yes, because the lenses weren't zoom at the time, they were turret lenses, so...
There were zooms on outside broadcast, but not in the studio at that time.
So if you wanted to change the depth of field or anything, you had to cut away, change the lens, and then
Change
come
the
back.
lens, and that was really one of the things that a vision mix would always be looking for, so that the camera that you were coming to had finished changing lens and focused up, of course.
So you'd have to watch the script to where the cut should be and watch the monitors to make sure you've done
and
it.
the preview monitors, yes.
Again, lots of plot. It is very wordy, this story. Lots of exposition.
I'd have thought this little section would have put quite a lot of people off, but because it does seem to go on for some time without really setting a lot of plot.
This is something we'll notice when we get on to the third episode, which was, of course, cut down from 2, that suddenly the pace rockets. There is the Doctor looking very old there. It's quite worrying for me to look at him. He was actually only 56 when this episode was made.
The worse for wear, doesn't he?
She's only 6 years older than I am now. Did everyone look a bit older back then? I don't know. Did he seem quite old at times, William?
He did seem to have trouble with his lines. I mean, it was
Certainly
difficult to
did.
know if that was a little bit of a sort of affectation, and some of his mannerisms on the screen looked very much like they were off the screen when he was sort of fussing about, remembering things. I guess it was a lot of responsibility in a way.
And here's this rather fantastic fly.
Lovely.
It's actually
That's
moving.
great, that, isn't it?
How's that operated? Can you remember? Because the whole thing's in shot, so whether it's some kind of puppet.
You got a
It gives you
battery?
the creeps, doesn't it? That?
Yeah.
And Dudley and his drums. That is a great prop.
Yeah. She did a good fall.
And here it goes, it flies off. There we go. And lands on the seeds and immediately dies. Pitch down footsteps again, this idea that
Yes,
they hear everything.
Alan would have done all of that.
I bet they had a laugh of that when he picked her up.
This is a great set again because it matches the small set, the set here with the sink that we're going to see in a minute, which matches the minuscule sink, which will again is a big part of the plot coming up. So there's a typical misguided scientist with a businessman trying to force him to do what he doesn't want to do, or maybe he does want to do it. Typical sci-fi Doctor Who staple. Saying about William because he lasted, I think, 3 years did 3 years as Doctor Who, and then moved on because he was finding it very difficult to remember his lines by the end of it, and becoming very difficult to carry on with it, which is a shame. I think he's very, very good. I mean, he sort of defined the role, didn't he? And the fact that we're here all these years later, he did something very, very right.
I mean, to me, he just is the Doctor Who, really. I can never see anybody else. Really, they always look a bit like imposters. He seemed so much the character that, the other ones just didn't really seem to be the original Doctor Who. Well, they weren't, of course.
Just a wonderful blow-up, this set, the whole setup of this, because you don't expect the plug hole to actually go down, and there's only one camera possibly on a zip-up tower. I think it must have been on a zip-up tower purposely for just this one shot.
It is great because it's a raised set. It must have been a very complicated set in the studio because it's quite a large area to walk around on, plus the raised plug hole and the chain,
which is also moved later on as well.
That's very clever, isn't it? Because presumably it was a split set with a bit of set, this bit of set for the bottom of the sink, in the sink, and then another section of set for the top.
For the top of it, yes.
And in rehearsal, all that presumably was worked out very carefully about who was going to do what and how they would relate to one another, get the eye lines right, because the eye lines are right as well.
That's why I always think he was using that wooden frame, so he could actually see exactly what it's going to be in relationship to the idea of the set behind, you know.
And of course, when he had his technical requirements to have that zip-up tower there with a camera, which would have probably not had any other shots other than that one. I think there is another top shot of something else.
Something else, probably the other side.
Yeah,
another set around the other.
Went round on, but
and there's another.
And these all look like
roof there.
These are all pedestals as well. I don't think there's any motorized work on this, which again is quite unusual.
And moving the fly from where it was earlier to here, you think there would have been a recording break to do that, or would they have been rushing to try and get that done while you were off doing the other scenes?
Probably doing it while the scenes are going on.
So done it theatre style rather than
they're only allowed about 5 stops throughout the whole thing.
And who would have been fly wrangling?
Might have been the visual effects probably doing that.
So there'd been a couple of visual effects guys on the floor handling that kind of stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
That is a terrific shot, isn't it?
It's amazing.
The lighting's so good, isn't it? I mean, it kind of looks like a sort of thing.
Yes, actually.
At that time, studio lighting looked very studio lighting, whereas this
looks dramatic, really, isn't it? It's dramatic.
The lighting is that. You're right. The lighting really sells that.
You do see a little bit of giveaway in the top left of the reflection there of the actual lighting bar.
Oh, yeah.
But you know that. I don't think.
No,
does.
And this is the other angle.
A bit of set. It's very good because the eye lines work and the angles work. It's all very cleverly worked out. Was Mervyn a bit of a stickler for this kind of thing? So very work it all out very carefully.
Well, he worked this out very carefully. I can't remember him doing very, very complicated things otherwise. I mean, I worked with him on Compact, which was quite an easy soap opera to work on. But this, I think, was one of his technical masterpieces, really.
And that's very clever, as you said just now. The chain is now, even though it's a separate set, the chain is now moving.
I'm sure what David would probably been doing is doing cues for each of these sets, because they'd been separate. So each one would have to have been cued, because they probably couldn't hear each other.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. The floor manager being on one of the sets, and I would probably be on the other set, cueing that off as the intercut between the two. Yeah.
And again, presumably that kind of thing only really came together once you got into the studio and you actually had the set and you could work out that business, because you can't really do that in rehearsal.
Well, the actors would work it out, knowing it's going to come, and it'd be described by Mervyn what was in his mind going to happen. And say in the studio, then you'd see the reality thing, then do it. Yeah.
Pitch down voice. I find the pitch down voice is a bit weird sound-wise, because it suggests that time is compressing as well, but it's not.
But it's a sort of convention that actually works. I mean, it's like when you've got an outer space shot, there's no sound in outer space, but there are just ways of dealing with it. Very often just using breathing or something like that.
I love the length of time they take to actually get ready to wash their hands here.
It's very convenient.
Because that's the only reason they've come into the shed, to wash their hands.
That's right. Oh, there he finds a dead fly. Slightly labouring the plot again, sort of explaining again that.
Yes.
And yet Barbara is still wandering around, just feeling a little bit under the weather. And the full-size sync is interesting. It's interesting. We were talking about cliffhangers earlier. Interesting to see what happens with the sync, and you have to watch the plug.
Oh, there is a continuity error, I guess. Absolutely, yeah.
There we go. He puts the plug in, and they're hiding in the briefcase again.
His trousers are still beautifully creased.
And again, very difficult to show, so we're told it's happened rather than.
So someone's popped
We
in
don't
there.
exactly know where they are, and we shouldn't know where they are, because they're standing and they seem to have gone down a pipe, which...
No, he pulled his sleeves up, but they're down again now.
That's right.
And then he pulls the plug out, leaves it on the side, and
that's the next episode, yeah.
The Doctor and Susan are down the plug hole and about to get washed away if they're not very, very careful. So there we go. We're back with episode 3, which again started off as 2 episodes, The Urge to Live and Crisis, and was edited together as one, just called Crisis. And we'll be back for that in a couple of minutes.